Hello, everyone. Welcome to more mine colonies. Um, so yeah, I did. I did a little bit of the flattening, as you can tell. Um, I went and flattened down this area quite a bit. I brought the farm over because I realized that we didn't have any kind of chunk loader. Um, and so none of the crops were growing, which was a problem. Um, I have been able to determine that the freaking uh, I I've forgotten what I was looking for here, and because I've forgotten what I was looking for, I don't know what setting I'm trying to find. um, yeah. I did determine that the freaking weather is the weather is modified by a mod, which means that it will um it means that it will rain regardless of whether or not I have weather cycle on or not. So that's super annoying. So not much I can do about that. I did change one of the configs for the mods that are already in the pack. And that is the tree chopper, because basically they have it set so that every single block in the tree requires its own chop. So like if a tree has 300 blocks, you have to chop it 300 times. I have changed that to 70%, basically. So now it will reduce that. It'll reduce down to 70%. Which, when you've got a tree that is 9 blocks, or 10 blocks down here, like it's not actually a big deal. Like it won't really change much. But if you've got a tree that's, like 20 blocks or something, it'll actually have an effect on how it do the chopping. So, and yeah, I mean, you could probably tell, but I did add the durability removal mod, so we no longer have to worry about that, which is nice, you know? Maybe I have it at 80%? I don't know. I think I set it to 0.7 instead of 1. It was 1.0, and I think I set it to either 0.7 or 0.8. Oh yeah, that was 10. That was 10 blocks, and it required 7 chops. So there you go. That shows that it is in fact 70%. But yeah, I realized after the last stream, or recording, I guess is what these are at the moment, that I flattened the area for the town hall that I was going to build. But I didn't think about the fact that before I can build that town hall, we have to build a supply camp. And the supply camp literally requires flat ground. Um, now, that's not really a big issue. If you look on the map, there's a section over that way that is relatively flat. So I'm probably just going to utilize that. Got all these freaking holes because the trees dig one block into the ground. And so there's all these like 1 block holes from that. But yeah, so I have a spot to put the supply camp without too much issue. At least I believe I do. I won't know until I, actually build a supply camp. Which I figured that we're pretty close to being able to do that, especially now that, I've set the durability. And so that should mean that we should be able to get to doing that in this episode. So, and hopefully, I only need to record a couple of these in order to be at enough of the pre-records for the remainder of the move that my family's doing here. That's my hope here anyway. So that's mostly freaking dirt blocks in there. And yeah, I mean, you can also see I did include the shift drag mod. So that's, here. Now let's see, supply camp. We can either make a supply ship or a supply camp. Supply camp requires making 5 chests, which, is easy enough to do. So I think we'll start with that. One, two, three, four, 5. And that gives me a supply camp. And I really would love to get some potatoes or something. Something that's better than these freaking berries for food, but although perhaps a supply camp will give that. Because I think the setting for it to just like give you stuff is on. But yeah, there's this nice open space here, and I'm hoping that this won't cause me any issues. I won't know really until I try to build the thing. It really just depends on how big the supply camp is. Use these supplies to assemble a supply camp to serve as a foundation for your colony. Within it, aside from ample resources, You shall find a salvaged town hall block and build tool to lay the groundwork for the new colony. Founding a colony demands resilience. Beyond the basic necessities of shelter, sustenance, and healing lies the imperative to fortify against the looming threats of piracy and barbarism. I have no idea how to actually say that. Yet, should you endure these trials, the potential for growth knows no bounds. For artisans to scholars, miners to alchemists, your settlement holds the promise of evolving into a self-sustaining bastion of prosperity and knowledge. Make sure to find a flat, open area large enough for the camp's layout to place it. So we can then go into here, and there are a ton of different styles. And I figure we'll look through and see what all styles there are. Because there's definitely some in here that I've not seen before. Farthest Frontier. Based on the strategy game Farthest Frontier, protect and guide your people as you forge a town from an untamed wilderness at the edge of the known world. Functional fantasy, aquatica, and underwater bases. Hive. Believe in yourself and build the sweetest home. Complex connected style, ideal for hanging in open spaces. There's High Magic, there's Crimson Keep, there's all of the basic mine colonies, there's Christmas colonies, which is Christmas tree and Christmas style, and then apparently there's cliffs. Welcome to the highest mountain. Prepare yourself to climb and terraform the mountains to succeed. Interesting. It's a Christmassy rework of the medieval spruce style. It's a giant Christmas tree for your builder to build as a challenge. What? That sounds insane. I think since we have a lot of oak and birch in this area, I think either oak or birch would be the best, because there are the medieval oak and birch styles. There is, of course, also the Greek style, the antique. And I always kind of mix and match a lot, if I can be honest. So I think we will go ahead and work with the medieval, either the medieval oak or medieval birch style. And to kind of decide which I'm gonna do, I actually don't have a coin around here to flip. So that's unfortunate, but it's alright. We'll go with the birch just because it's the one I really haven't used before. So, I mean, I think it's just the medieval oak style, but with birch wood instead. But that's fine. It's not a big deal. So yeah, this is actually much smaller than I anticipated. Like, I actually kind of figured it would be a much bigger thing. I do wish better combat was here, but it's fine. There we go. Whoa, I almost died. Now that you have your supplies, how about searching for a nice location to place your town hall to create your colony? Indeed. I don't know why these blocks are empty. That's kind of weird. The important thing is we have a book, we have an empty map, we have some paper, and we have our town hall and our build tool. And also a nice bed. It does give us a little bit of storage room with a couple of racks. And also, if I climb up here onto the wagon, it gives us a set of basic stone tools to begin with. We can give those to our colonists. It gives us 64 birch logs, 64 cobblestone, a few handfuls of food, 64 stone, another stack of birch log, and some water bottles for some reason. The most important thing out of this is that it gave us potatoes and carrots. So that is super helpful, actually. I will have to plant those, considering that I didn't even realize that it was going to do that. So that's, you know, pretty nice. I don't think the hoe breaks the wool any faster. But I will grab some of this wool here. I will say I do wish I had an item magnet. Just so that I could like pick up all of this stuff easier. But it's fine. But yeah, this basically gave us a good start for our colony. So let's pop into this barrel. We'll grab our town hall and our build tool, as we'll need both of those. And we will head back to where our marker is. One thing I am going to want to do is set up pens for some animals. Because, like, you know, we have some pigs and sheep and stuff around here, you know. So it would be nice to set something up to house them. Unfortunately, some of that was almost done growing, but it's fine. I just wanted a bit of growth space for some potatoes and carrots. So put those in there. Just trying to dump stuff in here. Oh yeah, in between episodes, I got a pillager raid. So I took care of them fairly easily. But it did give us a bad omen bottle, or an ominous bottle, I guess. So we have that. So now let's take our build tool. We'll go into our fundamentals, go into the town hall. And for our town hall, we have two options. We have the regular town hall and the alt town hall. Now, the alt town hall is freaking massive. Holy crap. Good lord. I believe this turns into a giant castle. So that is pretty cool, though. We'd have to, you know, figure out which direction it needs to actually be facing so that the front is pointed, you know, that way. I'm a little lost on which direction is which here. Okay, there's the opening right there. So yeah, I mean, it's a gigantic freaking castle, basically. And I mean, technically it comes with its own hill, at least at like level 1. Like if you look, the ground around here, you know, is hilly. You can see, like, if I go up, you know, like, look, there's a hill, you know. But as it gets upgraded, you'll notice that it kind of loses that hill appearance. And it kind of ends up, you know, just being tall. So sometimes this is a thing with the structures in Minecolonies. Sometimes, like, you want to double check the full size or the highest level of the structure before you put it down, because you'll think that it's one way, and then when it gets to like level 2 or 3 or something, you'll be like, oh, actually it's not that way, you know. Like, if I were building this and I were to just look at it from like level 1 here, like, first off, where's the entrance? Huh? Oh, over here. So, like, I mean, first off, this is the entrance here. So, like, if I was building it based off of this, I would want to point it here. Except that, again, when we get to level 3 and it becomes a castle, we can see that, oh, whoops, the entrance is now here instead. You know? Oh, and even level 2, you know? So, like, you want to kind of look and make sure that whatever you're building is in whatever direction you want it to be, and, you know, look however you want it to look at max level. So that's always my first recommendation when handling mine colonies. Mine colonies is one of those mods that you kind of really want to plan ahead for. That's what I find, is that often it is best if you kind of get a general plan for how you want the colony to look when it's done. And while that's not like absolutely necessary, it can still be really helpful. Because, you know, you want to like plan out some of the roads and things like that, you know. So you're city planning, essentially, you know. You want to make sure that, you know, the city is kind of how you want it to be at the end. So I think this is good. I think that this is a good place to start the town hall at. Just grab some extra dirt real quick to fill in a couple of these holes I just made. But yeah, I think this is a nice like hill, you know. I think this fits well onto the hill. So I'm going to, before we do that, I'm going to look at the standard town hall. And so we can already see like this is gonna need a completely different location for this. Right? And so when it gets to level 5, we can see this isn't so much a castle as it is a manor. So it kind of depends on what you want, you know? Do you want to live in a fancy medieval castle, or would you prefer a manor, you know? Because the thing about the town hall is that this is pretty much your home. And so, like, wherever you place this is pretty much where you're going to live. And I think that this is good. I think I want to go ahead and live in the castle. Generally, that's part of the reason why I even pick the medieval style, is because, you know, you get to live in a castle, basically. Here's your throne. Here you've got a nice long table. You know, you've got your study over here. You've got a little kitchen area. And we can't see it very well, but there is a basement. And if I were to like go up, you know, we could like take a look at what the basement will look like at level 5. So it's cool. I want to double check and make sure I put that in the right spot. I did. Okay. So let's go ahead and start our colony. And so now you'll notice, like, there's not anything actually here yet. It's not like the supply camp where, it places it down. All it does is place down this one block over here. The year 13 after Creeper, we formally lay down the foundations of a new settlement, henceforth called Mezzior. Originally, at least I believe, it's possible that this is from a waypoint, from the waypoint mod, but I do remember there being like randomized names in some way. And the first time I did Minecolonies, Mezzior was the name that came up. And I'm terrible at names. So I was just like, yeah, sure. And so, like, I've just used that ever since. We pledge to steward the land with care, ensuring the safety, prosperity, and well being of all who call it home. Furthermore, we solemnly commit to fostering constructive relations with potential neighboring settlements. May this covenant stand as a testament to our shared dedication to bring a better future for ourselves and generations to come. News spread swiftly of the newly founded settlement. Before long, pioneers from distant lands will flock to join the ranks of your burgeoning colony. So, we now have a colony officially built. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to light purple for the color. That is the closest to pink that they have, so that's what I do. Our first colonist has appeared, Jeremiah W. Church. And so, what we want to go ahead and do now is we want to build a builder's hut. And we're going to want to build a couple of these. Because of the fact that we just need, a couple, we just need more than one of these, basically. So we're going to start out by building 2. And you can see that there's a pink square around, well, a light purple square around the colony here. And basically anything that is in that purple is someplace that I can build at. So now the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to figure out where the colony line is. All right, well, they have made it so that the construction tape doesn't pop up. And I wonder, is that a setting? Because that is slightly annoying. I do kind of rely on that to like know like where each of the buildings is. I'm not seeing a setting to enable or disable the automatic placement of the construction tape that tells you like where everything is. So maybe it'll do it. Maybe it'll do it for the other structures. I don't know. what I do know is that we need to go into the fundamentals and grab ourselves a builder's hut. So this is the builder's hut for, whoop, the castle just appeared. This is the builder's hut for the medieval birch style. And what I would like to do is put the two builders' huts that I have on opposite corners of the colony. Now, to do this, I have to first find the edge of the colony, which shouldn't be difficult. It's just right over here. And then I kind of want to, like, bring that over. So that it is kind of on the edge. And the main reason for putting it on the edge is that offers the ability to have the most, like, space. Because wherever you put the builder's hut, I believe it's like 6 chunks out that the builders can work. And so it's generally a good idea to put your builder's huts initially at either the corners of the colony as it starts, or to put them kind of at the corner of, like, the town hall itself. Either way, it lets them get out to where they will build the most, you know. It's also generally recommended, at least I generally recommend, checking your chunk borders to see, you know, where exactly those are, and see if you can't place the majority of it into a single chunk. A lot of that probably comes from the fact that I usually use the fortress for building my colonies. And those are actually designed to be built into, like, a chunk, you know, basis, right? Okay, so I gotta, like this guy's gotta come over this way. But yeah, you can see, like, I either need to build this ground up, or I need to bring the ground down around the builder's hut. I think that this will be all right. Let's see, this is where that is. So that's right up against the chunk. And then if I go back one, that'll be right up against that chunk. Like, right up against the edge, I mean. And I think, honestly, the best option here is going to be to level this area with this. So basically, I want to make sure that the ground here is at this level. And that pretty much puts it at the chunk edge. The edge of the colony itself here. And it looks like the majority of the structure is in a single chunk here. So one thing I'm gonna do to make this a little easier for myself is I am going to line the area around the structure with a separate block so that I can know, okay, this is where, these are the bounds of the structure, basically. And I literally do this for, like, everything. When I'm doing the, when I'm doing the, like, you know, build whatever style like this. When I'm doing, like, Fortress, everything is chunk by chunk, right? So, like, I know where everything is going to line up, you know? I know, you know, where everything is. With something like this, each building is a completely different size. And so to help with organizing and planning and things like that, what I will want to do basically is go in and mark out where the structure actually like is. So first off, the structure is one further block down. So I want to start there. And then we can see, you know, this is the edge of that. And actually, I want to build this one out, right? So that we have the actual border. So then I want to dig this way. Okay. So now we have the area that it will be in. But because the floor is here, I now want to dig one further down, like this. And then this tells me where the structure is. It lets me know, you know, hey, when I'm building other buildings, you know, don't put them within this space. And when I am clearing the land out, so that, you know, the building can be constructed, I now know exactly where I need to, like, clear out. So, now, yes, technically the colonists will do that on their own as well. But, even so, I like to do that just because, like, it's just nicer. That they don't have to work as hard that way. Like, because it'll take them a long time to actually dig all the stuff out, right? Yeah, I know how this goes. So we've got Jeremiah W. Church is our assigned worker over here. One thing I want to do is go around, place some torches down in each of these corners to help light things up. Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that was where that was. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Torch there, and I'm out of torches. Obviously, you know, I want to keep this area well lit up. So one thing that I'm definitely going to want to do is collect many torches. Oh, I'm carrying the stone tools. Whoops. It's fine. So let's go into his inventory. I'll drop the axe, the shovel, and the pickaxe, because that's what he will need. And then we'll go into build options. Oh boy, we need framed birch planks just right off the bat here. Fun. Framed birch plank. 10 birch slab. 24 birch plank. 14 birch fence. 76 birch stair. 1 birch door. A crafting table. 6 cobble stair. 2 cobble slab. 3 coarse dirt. That's going to be interesting. And 49 birch logs and a torch. Probably don't need to supply the regular cobblestone or the dirt. So let's go ahead and tell him to start building. And though I have given him an axe, due to tree chop, it would probably be better for me to knock down the trees for him, because he will have to do every individual block, whereas I can come in and knock the whole trees down right from the beginning.
Where's the courier?
He wants a hoe because of leaves. So there's that. And I could care less about that. So, I mean, granted, he won't start working until either there are no leaves in the area or I give him a hoe. And I'm kind of just thinking, like, do I care enough to go about it, you know? Like, do I care enough to go about, like, giving him a hoe so that he can, you know, break some leaves? Or do I just want to make sure there are no leaves within the construction area, you know? And honestly, what I'm doing right now is I'm just making sure there are no leaves in the construction area. So I believe that took care of it. I mean, I suppose it could also be that he wants the hoe for those
I'm
things.
waiting for something.
Just arrived here and wondered if you wish any guidance setting up the colony. Nah, I'm good. Yes, but not right now. I will come back later. I guess I'll just give him the stone hoe. It's fine. You know, maybe he'll end up doing something with it. So, like, maybe there's still something that he needs to, you know, break with the hoe. Now, there are a couple, now, let me try that again. Now, you can help with the, like, deconstruction process, like I'm doing here, where I'm, like, helping him dig up the dirt and stuff. But you can't do anything to help him with the actual construction process. At least not immediately. At a later time, we will get access to the builder's hammer. And when we get access to the builder's hammer, it will allow us to help him out in the construction process. But we don't have that now, obviously, so we can't do that right now. Now you can see that there are some areas that are not yet lit up. You know, any of this like blue area is not lit up, so mobs can spawn. So I am going to want to get some torches. I've got 48 coal, so let's just go ahead and make 48 recipes worth of torches, because we're going to want a lot of torches. And basically the idea is I want to make as much of the colony area safe as is physically possible. And light overlay helps with that a lot, because you can watch for, you know, all the spots where mobs can spawn. And you can put torches down. And if I pay attention to like where the colony border is, I can do my best to ensure as much of the colony is lit up as is possible. With it approaching night, I do want to be careful, because if I'm out here putting down torches and then guys spawn over that way, you know, it won't be good for them. It won't be good for my colonists. Again, baby zombies. Okay. This is why I wish better combat was in this. Because freaking baby zombies. And I actually need to run back, because I did not realize that like I forgot that I reset my spawn over here. And so my bed is not, you know, over here. And sadly, we have had a colonist die, which is not too surprising. But it's okay. They didn't have anything really in their inventory anyway. So, move that closer, I guess. Now, obviously, the easiest way to deal with mob spawns is to sleep through the night. You know, one minor issue with the very beginning of building a colony is that they have no real protection. And that does become somewhat of an issue, especially when the colonists are not smart enough to notice monsters. And so they will just go on walks out, you know, and about, and then walk into a group of monsters that are, you know, hiding, and then they will get slain. But again, this is why I like light overlay, because all I have to do is watch for the blue X's, and as long as I ensure that there are no blue X's anywhere within the colony borders, you know, other than underwater, obviously, because that can be an issue. But as long as I ensure that there's no blue X's, then mobs cannot spawn near the colony. And I'm just gonna go ahead and spread out this sugarcane a little bit more while I'm over here. Now, I have gone and collected an absolute frick ton of grass and ferns, which are just things that you'll need as decoration throughout the colony. So I'm not too worried about like collecting any of the tall grass or ferns that are here. So like, you could go ahead and break all of this tall grass and stuff, just to get it out of the way. And then it'll also look nicer without all of this extra freaking grass clutter. And with the longer days, that this mod pack has, hopefully that will allow me to more or less find all of the spawn spots before the day comes to an end. But we'll have to see. Now, there are methods of determining where is dark and where is light. You know, without using light overlay. But it does require either knowing like the numbers of where to like place each torch optimally, or it requires it being night where you can see where it is dark and where it is not. I would much prefer to deal with the problem during the day where there are no mob spawns. than to be trying to keep the colonists alive while also sitting here and trying to determine where is dark, where is light, purely based off of, you know, how bright a block is, you know? So that's why I will always include light overlay in my mod packs. While I won't say that every mod pack should, or rather, while I won't say that every mod pack, like, needs to include it, I will say that every mod pack should. Because knowing where is dark and where is light, to me, does not add additional difficulty. Like, oh no, I thought I placed torches down optimally, but I missed one square, and all of my colonists are now dead. Like, that does not seem fair to me. You know? So, I view the inability to, like, handle the dark and, like, you know, light very, you know, easily as kind of being unfair to a degree. You know, it's it's artificial difficulty. You know, is how I would view it. Obviously, there are people who have different opinions. But this is mine. And I will say that every time. Artificial difficulty really is just not something that games need. Games can be hard without having any kind of artificial bloat to them. You know? Like, yeah, a lot of people will be like, you know, I don't like artificial bloat in the game. You know, I don't like it when games add things that they don't need to add. Well, this is my things that games don't need to add. You know? Anything that makes the game more difficult just for the sake of claiming that the game is now more difficult. You know? Because, like, you can have difficulty, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, obviously that's just the difficulty. What? Brett has died to a pillager? Excuse me? Again, I literally just dealt with these guys. I didn't even know pillagers could spawn. Like, into, like, the colonies. Also, that was literally a single pillager. Did you see that? That wasn't like a pillager raid. I can only assume that that one specific pillager was like from the original like pillager raid. and I just missed him somehow. Because he came out of nowhere. And so, like, I'll give you some examples of, like, what I would classify as difficulty being added purely for difficulty's sake, you know, for artificial difficulty. One of the things that I would claim as artificial difficulty is obscuring mechanics. Purely for the sake of, you know, well, you've got to figure it out now. Like, and let's use Final Fantasy XIV as a good example of what I'm talking about. In Final Fantasy XIV, you have a marker that is known as the Tank Buster. You know, it is generally a big red marker that goes on to a character, generally the tank. It generally is aimed at the tanks, but if it's not, like, if the tank doesn't have the aggro, right? Because, like, maybe the tank, you know, the tanks all died in the raid or something. Like, you know, it might go at a different character, right? So, we have the Tank Buster markers. So we have the red Tank Buster marker. And the idea is, when you see that red marker, you know that an attack is about to come that does bigger damage, that, you know, will bust your tank if you don't heal, and if the tank doesn't mitt properly, etc. So then we go into another fight. You know, like, you've learned, okay, so this red marker is a tank buster. And so whenever I see that red marker, I want to, you know, mitigate up. You know, if I'm the healer, I want to, you know, make sure that I've got a barrier or a heal ready to go or something, right? But then,
what can I do for you?
Need birch planks to continue working. I didn't even realize that you had, like, the other things. Well, I can give him these.
Yeah, I heard a whistle that time.
I believe it was a torch and the birch logs. Oh, and the birch door. There it is. I totally didn't think about, you know, getting him the stuff that he needs. I should probably do that. But, like, okay, so let's say, you know, there is the tank buster. Well, okay. It's kind of, the example I'm thinking of is kind of more the reverse. Like, the you know, you know that there is the tank buster, right? Trying to think of exactly the right way to word what I'm thinking of here. Let me freaking get this guy squared away. I think I have lit up the majority of the area around here at least. So I should be able to kind of get started on that. I'm just gonna dump my inventory here. Kind of clear out all of this gunk. All of this crap that I have that I don't need. Did I end up dumping the torches, or have I just placed that many? I think I just placed that many. Because I don't see any torches in any of these chests. Which is fine. I was just kind of surprised that I had, in fact, placed that many torches. So, the first thing we need is architect's table. We need log, stone, slab, and iron. And I was going to say, surely I have at least one iron somewhere. What about the clean stone? 5 clean stone. At least there, I do. Anyway. Okay. Oops. I didn't turn them into slabs. Architect's cutter. And while I'm at it, it wouldn't hurt to get the stone cutter back out. Okay, so I want to take some birch. I'm just gonna convert like half of that. And I need 11 framed birch planks, which is this thing. So those are the framed birch planks. And then we need the birch slabs. And then we need the birch planks. And then I need some birch fences. I forget. Is it this way? No, that's the gate. Okay. So it's this way. Whoops. Way too many. Then we need some birch stairs, but first let's build another crafting table. I also need cobblestone, because I need some slabs, specifically 2, and I need 6 of those. And we'll run all of this over here to get him started working. And then we'll just see what he needs after that. So he needs 36 more stairs, 3 coarse dirt, and then 33 cobblestone. Okay. So I'm going to need to supply him the cobblestone.
So what will it be for you?
If you wish any guidance on the colony, yeah, but later, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. We'll think. I'll think about it. Kind of know a lot of what I'm doing, so I don't really know that I need guidance. And, like, there's part of me that wants to, like, leave it so that I can be like, oh yeah, like, what the frick do I do here? But I'm fairly certain that, like, I know how to do everything. Like, I've not ever completed a colony before, but I feel like I've, like, interacted with just about every system in the colony. So there are still quite a few areas that are dark there, but it's all right. We will make do. So let's go ahead and dump those in there. Guess that's just where the seeds are. Now I probably want to build a second builder's hut. I probably want to put it in the other corner, right? The main thing that I'm seeing is that the other corner is across the water. And that's not going to be fun for a colonist to have to try to cross that on their own. So I think I'm going to want to build a bridge. But before I do that, let's go ahead and come over here and designate an area for the builder's hut. And so the first thing I want to do is rotate it around. Then I want to kind of just put it into the corner. And then I kind of want to look around here and see. It looks like this is the level right here. So I want that to be right there. And then I can just flatten all of that. So we'll set that up, but we're not going to tell them to build this yet, because I don't actually want a builder to come over here yet. And as long as I don't tell them to start building, like, there will be a worker that gets assigned, but they won't actually start doing the building process yet. So 20, 21, 22, 23. Nope. That was counting from that level. There it goes. Now the tree chopped down. But you also notice that, like, there's a lot of tree left because some of it's here in the water. So, like, I chopped it, it grabbed where I was chopping at. It didn't chop below. That's why, like, I will chop, and then, like, when it reveals another block underneath, I'll, like, start hitting that one. Because it will only chop down to whatever the bottom block is that you're chopping at. So. Now, before I get any colonists actually over here to do any building, I'm obviously going to want to light this area up. You know? But I do need some more torches in order to do that. And unfortunately, I do believe we used up all of our current coal, which means I'm going to need to collect more coal. Either that, or I'm going to have to turn to using charcoal. Which isn't a problem. I mean, I've got plenty of freaking logs of all kinds. I'm just saying, you know, I need more torches. This is when Ars Nouveau would be really handy because, you know, Mage Light. But alas, that is not the case. So instead, I'm just going to have to go collect a bunch of torches. And there are two easy ways to get torches. Either by finding some coal, or by turning trees into charcoal. We've got plenty of trees, and so that's probably going to be the actual easiest method. Since I really don't have a spot that I can, like, leave the colonists behind at right now. Like, they have no protection currently. So, like, when night comes, I either need to be immediately here so that I can sleep away the night, or I need to be here so that I can protect them. You know? Once I get a tavern constructed, they will have a place to sleep, and that will pretty much protect them as is. It's just getting to that point. The beginning of mine colonies can be stressful. So we have Ayan, we have Constance, we have Jeremiah, and we have Vida. There are 2 builders and 2 unemployed. Um, this is in housing, yada yada. Oh, here it is, construction tape. It's in this itself. Let's make a pink banner. And we'll do something like white. I've done this before, I just don't remember the exact steps. It's something similar to that though. Like these are a little like wide. I think that might be the only other option. So oh. That's what that is. Okay. Neat. I don't know. I'm terrible at making freaking banners. That's interesting looking. Is there a better color for that? Like a nice blue, perhaps? Hmm. I don't know. I don't do banners very well. I really don't. Like I don't know. I don't know what looks good. Really, like at all. You know. There we go. Wouldn't let me select that one for some reason. And like just down the middle, maybe. Not quite what I'm after. You can probably guess what I'm trying to do. Oh, that completely. Meh. We'll make it pink. We'll add a little like border around it. Sure. We'll do that. We'll call that good for now. I probably should consider... How the heck did I find a nether pepper? I guess that's not something that actually, like, requires going to the nether to find. Let's go ahead and... Actually, we'll just take 2 stacks. Of logs. I think you would only need that much in the way of the planks. So, to like convert all of those into charcoal. That said, clearly my farm here is doing pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest what I can. And I guess I'll have to make another furnace. I don't suppose there are, like, other furnaces. No. At least none that the furnace upgrades into, anyway. And then what I want to do is I want to find if I have any other potatoes. I do. These 7. Okay. Put those in there. And we'll put the potatoes in there with the planks. And we'll start making up some baked potatoes for food. It is starting to become nighttime. There's Constance. Constance is our other builder, it seems. I don't actually know where Jeremiah went, or if he needs anything. Tempest Fugit. I don't know why it says Tempest Fugit every time the day progresses, but it does.
Hi.
Oh, you need 33 cobblestone. Got it. I see. You're on the part of the resources that I have not yet provided you. Got it. So firstly, we need 36 more stairs. And then we need 33 cobblestone. And then we need some coarse dirt. And I don't know where to find any. So I'm gonna have to craft some. And if you didn't know, you can take dirt and gravel and make coarse dirt out of it. So let's make, I'm just going to make 8. He only needs 3, but I'm going to need 3 more for the other guys, right? So might as well just make more than I need. And there we go. So now he should be able to work on that. There is some coarse dirt here. But I'm not too concerned about that. There is a fish. There's the item frame. Never hurts to take some of the stuff from here. For example, grabbing fences and such. And let's grab our map. What we're going to want to do is head to the center of our colony. Which I don't know the exact center, so I'm just doing it right next to here. And then, now we have a map. Sort of. I mean, it's not the whole colony. You know, it's just what's in the, you know, the map itself. But if I were to make more map, you know, I could see more of the colony in the town map. And you can see, like, okay, this is where Constance works. This is where Jeremiah works over here. See where each person is. Ion, Ion is all the way over there for some reason. And yeah, I can build more, you know, maps and stuff to do more things. Right now, we're just waiting on the charcoal, really, so that we can make more torches. And that right there is already a good amount of extra torches. And I'm just going to toss those in there for now. Unfortunately, getting all of the stuff sorted is going to be a monumental task. So, now I don't remember if I had the light overlay on before. I think I did. So I just turned it off. So that's always fun to do. That said, I don't know how much crossover there is between my viewers and Genshin players, since I don't really stream it or anything. But freaking, I have a love-hate relationship with Genshin Impact because it is one of the worst freaking games gameplay-wise. Like, I absolutely hate the gameplay. It has been just getting worse and worse with each new patch. And I hate it. But the problem is that the team that writes Genshin is so good that I can't, like, move away from the story. You know? Like, World of Warcraft, it was super easy to stop playing. Because not only did World of Warcraft's gameplay become absolute trash, which it still is, that whoever is writing has no idea what they're doing. And so it was super easy to step away from World of Warcraft because freaking the story is utter baloney. Genshin, on the other hand, random voice crack. Genshin, on the other hand, has the worst freaking gameplay. Well, not, I wouldn't say the worst gameplay, but it has some of the worst gameplay out of, like, you know, all of the games like it, you know. But the story continues to be absolutely exceptional. And therein lies the problem. Because I want so badly to follow the story. And I'm so thankful for, like, streaming, because it's let me follow the story without having to play the game. You know, there are streamers, one in particular that I follow, Waap, W-A-A-P, and he's real cool. You know, from what I can tell, like, he's funny, he's cool, he's funny, you know, freaking, you know, he does, you know, Genshin videos, and, you know, shows all of the important plot elements and things. Maybe doesn't show, like, the puzzles themselves, which is fine for the most part, because that's not usually, like, a big deal. You know, the puzzles themselves aren't really that big of a deal, like, lore-wise, you know? They're just kind of there for, you know, the purpose of the gameplay. But, like, well, maybe not but. But like, I enjoy watching his channel, and you know, but being able to, you know, basically enjoy the story without having to like play the game because the game sucks. But this is where the but that I was going for comes in. Genshin just released a new teaser for the story, and like they had already revealed that one of the dead characters was coming back because they're playable in the next like patch. I think it's a really dumb idea. I feel like these characters should be released like the patch after, because I feel like that spoils, you know, the whole like thing about the character. You know, it's like you lose out on that, like, oh, you know, is the character gonna survive or whatever, because it's like, oh well, they're playable, so of course. But they just released like a story teaser, and I watched it, and like it was super good. You know, it goes through Sandrone's like past, more or less. You know, it's an animation that goes through and, you know, kind of shows Sandrone's past, and like it was really good and everything, and like I really did like it. But of course, it ends showing like, you know, oh, Sandrone is alive now, and it's like, okay, but like she died, and like that was a big deal that like she died, and it's not that I have issue with the fact that she's like coming back to life, like she's a robot. It makes perfect sense. It's just like, okay, you know, like the character's death was a major plot element, and like we have like 4 weeks still before the next patch, but you're already just spoiling the fact that the character is alive. You know, it's like when they did the last story arc that they did. You know, it with like with Il Dottore, however you say it. You know, the Doctor. And like, you know, him becoming the Trilune god and whatever, right? Like that was all really good. And, you know, of course we win in the end and we defeat him. And it's like awesome. The very next patch, like, they just put Dottore on the freaking like banner screen, you know? It's like, okay, first off, you know, like this is another case of like his death was a major part of the story. you know? But now you're just like, we haven't even like had an entire patch to be like, yeah, you know, he's definitely dead yet. And there's just no, like, they just do nothing to like hide the fact that he's gonna be, that he came back. But then in the game, like, the storyline does all that it can to hide that he's back until the big reveal. And it's like, what's the point? Like, why are you trying to hide that he's back in the story when you put him in the advertising? You know? Like, what's the point of hiding the fact that he's the freaking villain and he's back in the very next patch, you know? Like, freaking... And to be clear, this isn't my, you know, Genshin is bad complaint. Like, MiHoYo is like a garbage company and are absolutely terrible at hiding anything. Like, they don't seem to get the concept of, like, hey, maybe we shouldn't spoil the freaking story, you know? But, like, you know, but, like, that's not my complaint about, like, why the game itself is bad. You know, the game itself is bad because the game itself is bad. You know? Freaking... If you don't have your characters at level 100 now, which, by the way, if you haven't played Genshin in a while, you know, if you were a Genshin player and haven't played in a while, yes, the level cap is no longer freaking 90. Now there's an entire level 100 cap. And, you know, getting a character from level 1 to 90 is already, like, the stupidest process to begin with. So, like, I can't imagine why anybody would want to make their characters go up to level 100. Considering that also makes the enemies go up to, like, level 110. So, like, every time you get a new character, you have to freaking spend, like, 20 hours freaking, like, leveling them up and getting them ready before you can use them. And, like, yes, sometimes, you know, you have the ability to, like, do things in advance. But not when, like, there's a whole new region. Or, like, you know, whatever ascension material the character needs is, like, from a boss that just got added. You know? Like, you can't always be prepared before the character's release. Plus, like, you usually have no idea what the Ascension materials are going to even be until the character is released. So it's like, yeah, okay, you, like, what do? You just go and freaking, you know, farm every single boss and get, like, 100 of their materials, you know? and then discover that it was all pointless because the new character requires freaking what is it? It's like 50 or something of a boss material. And it's like, great, now you have to go farm an entirely new boss and get like 50 of their like one material. Except that they only drop like 3 maximum. Or maybe that's just me because I don't have my characters at level freaking 100 because it's a freaking pain to get the Ascension materials to begin with. So, like, why would I want to freaking level up the world to the point where I need to collect, like, 1,000 of a material, you know? Like, that just does not sound fun to me, you know? Like, this is the type of thing that I would classify as artificial difficulty. In fact, I would even go as far as to argue that anything that wastes your time is artificial difficulty. You know, anything that makes you have to sit down and wait, you know, like real life time, you know, time gating, as they would say. Like, time gating is, I'm sorry, but, I mean, I'm not sorry to say it, but time gating is dumb. It is literally a waste of time, you know? And, like, people would argue, like, oh, so you just want to be able to do everything at, you know, day one, and then, like, you know, there's nothing to do? And my answer is, like, no. Because the game developers should be developing the game in such a way that that's not a problem. Time gating does not solve that problem. It just makes it worse. Because now you have nothing to do, and you still have to play the game and waste time doing nothing. You know? Time gating doesn't solve the problem of having nothing to do. It makes the problem worse. And my, like, point to that would be, you know, if I can...
Good to see ya.
You need a single birch log. What? Why do you need a single birch log? You had all the birch logs that you needed. What do you mean you need more birch log? Oh, yeah. It's counting this tree as well. Like, I gave you all the resources. Why do you suddenly need a birch log? There you go. Birch log. He'll automatically pick it up, and then he'll go back to work. So. But, like, I gave him all the birch logs that he needed. So I don't understand why he needed more birch logs. Like, sometimes this is a thing that I see with mine colonies. It'll be like, for some random reason, a resource just, like, vanishes. For unknown reasons. It's like, I give them all the things that they need. I can even double check their resource list. And the resource list is like, yes, they have absolutely everything they need. I walk away, I come back 10 minutes later, and they're like, yeah, I need half of those resources again. And I'm like, what? What happened to the resources to begin with? The ones that you had everything. You know? Like, what happened? Where did those resources go? But then there is no answer. Because the game can't actually tell me. Because it's not sentient. I bet you, though, that if it was sentient, like, it wouldn't lose the items. Like, it's probably losing the items due to, like, a memory thing, you know? I get that those were technically part of the structure, but I don't care. Also, why is it dark over here? Like, he finished construction, and yet part of the building is, like, dark still. It's so weird. Okay, well, now that he's finished that, first off, you can see that there is now this little square that has been extended, which is funny. But also, now that he is done with that, now I can have him work on something else to build. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a tavern next. Because the tavern is what I need for them to have some level of protection. 1 barrel and just a handful of planks. The tavern will work as a sort of home, and will allow them to, like, go into there when they need to sleep. And so I think that will be the next thing we work on. And I think it would be best to just build it right here. So let's go into fundamentals and into tavern there, and then let's see what we are working with. Is this one of those underground ones? It is. Okay. Yes, I am familiar with how this works. And there's the level 5 version of the Builder's Hut, by the way. So I probably want it to be at this level, which means down here. I'm gonna want at least 3 blocks in between the structures. The actual, like, border of the colony is there. And what I'm thinking is that I'm also going to want a house here as well as the tavern. So let's go to residence first. And let's see how this thing works exactly. Is the entrance on this side? Where's the entrance? Here. This is the entrance. At least of level 5. The entrance is here. So I'd want to turn it that way. Right? Did I do that right? I don't think I did. No, wait, I did. Yes, there's the entrance right there. Okay. So then I want to line it up here. Now 1, 2, 3, and then this would be the block that would be the outside. The floor block needs to be even with this, which means it's got to be there, right? Am I right? Do you believe I am wrong? Oh yeah, because it's got these stairs here. So it would be... I'll figure it out. So I want it to go down by 1. Because I'm going to want it here. So that it is even with the Builder's Hut. Whoops. Oh, I thought I broke an extra. I did. I did, in fact, break an extra block. Okay. Now what I want to do is exactly how we did it last time.
Okay.
I'm going to go around the structure. Just like this. I'm going to dig into the ground here as a way to mark that this is where this is. That was a torch. Ow. The torch is in my inventory. Now, I don't actually have a residence block on me. So I will have to get one. Let me just do a little inventory management here. I do wish that Quark was in this pack, if for no other reason than for the ability to click items in. So I have the resources, I just need the extra planks, which I feel like I should have plenty of planks, but maybe not, maybe I don't. Oak planks and oak planks. So then let's grab some of ye old cobblestone. Now, what does this look like at level 1? Okay. I think it'll be alright. Boy, I do wish that Java had axis locking. Axis locking? The thing that Bedrock has, so that you can like place down a bunch of blocks in a row without it like screwing up. Okay, so let's go ahead and select that. And clearly there's a lot to clean up here. before we get too far. I wonder what it would take to have mine colonies on Bedrock. Like, I'm sure that, like, Mine Colonies uses a lot of, like, rewriting code, which obviously, you know, you can't do on Bedrock. So, like, I wonder what kind of systems would need to be implemented into Bedrock in order for something like Mine Colonies to be added to it. Mostly I just wonder because I like Mine Colonies. And I think it's cool, and, you know, I know that, like, a lot of mod makers are moving over to, you know, to the Bedrock, like, platform. And it just, like, makes me wonder, you know, like, how long will it be before all mods are on Bedrock? You know? What aspects of the modding API need to be changed in order for all mods to be possible? And, like, one part of like that question is also like, you know, would all mods go over to Bedrock if they could, you know? Like, are there any developers for mods that would be like, nah, I'm not gonna put my mod on Bedrock even if I could, you know? Like, what percentage of mod developers, like, what percentage of them mod in Java purely because they don't want to put their stuff on Bedrock? Like, yes, it does allow them to, like, directly make money off of their mods, but also, like, there are some, like, you know, requirements and, like, having to learn a new coding language. Which also is sort of another, like, thought, you know? Like, a lot of mods are, you know, coded in Java because that's what you know, the Java edition of Minecraft is coded in, right? But like, how many of them only know Java? And how many of them only learned Java so that they could mod? And how many of them have no real interest in, you know, learning another programming language? Because like, hey, I wanted to make a mod. I'm not really interested in, you know, programming as a whole. I just wanted to make, I just had an idea for a mod, and so I made it, you know? And look, but like, also how many people got into modding on Java, and then after, you know, learning a programming language, now they had something under their belt and went on to then learn other programming languages. Me personally, I am in the boat of, like, I want to learn to, like, code outside of just, like, modding stuff. But I've never been able to. You know, I've always, like, struggled to learn these things on my own. And so I've just never learned how to do it, because the only method I have of learning is to just learn it on my own. And I'm just not good at that. Like, it's why I use RPG Maker for the game I'm working on. It's not because RPG Maker is good for what I need. In fact, it's not. Like, I would absolutely, like, hire somebody to, like, code the game for me. If I could, you know? There's just so many trees here. And whatever this, like, biomod is, like, it really has modified, like, world generation to a point that I don't like. Because all of these trees are, like, embedded in the ground. And it's kind of annoying, if I can be completely honest. It's one of the things I actually actively dislike about Hightail, is that the trees in Hightail, like, replace the ground. And so, like, you dig up a tree and it's just like, great, now I have to put freaking, like, 30 blocks down to fill in the, like, gap here. But then, like, I'm just gonna put the tree back down. You know, I'm just gonna put, like, another sapling down there. Except that, like, it'll grow differently. You know? The roots, quote unquote, won't be in the exact same, like, spots. So I can't just, like, leave a hole. And also, generally, like, where you put the sapling, like, is where there will be blocks. And so, like, you'll put the sapling down, and then it'll, like, create holes in the ground. You know? And then it's like, I have to fill those in order to, like, put another sapling down in the same spot. Also, I'm just gonna say it, I really, really wish that freaking some form of vein mine was in this so that I could just freaking just break all of these blocks easier. Like, if you're not gonna add vein mine, you gotta add no durability. Because if I'm gonna have to, like, sit here and dig, like, 100 blocks, like, I don't want to, you know, dig 99 blocks and then my tool breaks. And, like, that's one of the benefits of, like, the vein mine. Well, depending on which vein mine mod you use. Like, some of the vein mine mods don't actually, like, deal durability. Instead, they just sap your hunger, which, like, yeah, sure. Like, I can eat more food. That's not a problem. You know? But when I'm doing these, like, large-scale excavations, like, the last thing I want is to have to stop all because the tool broke. Like, it does not feel good. And, like, yes, there's an argument to be made about, like, well, you know, just wait until you have mending for that, then. But also, like, really? Like, that... And this mod pack is a good example of what I mean. Like, the point of the mod pack is mine colonies. Like, the goal should be to jump into mine colonies as early and as quickly as you can. But that becomes difficult to do when the very nature of mine colonies requires you to excavate large areas. And it's like, now I have to freaking go in and, you know, mine like 1,000 blocks. So, like, do I wait until I have diamond tools and freaking you know, mending before I like step into doing any of that. Like, it shouldn't be that way because, again, the point of the mod pack is mine colonies. So the point should be to jump into mine colonies, you know, kind of as quick as you can. I see. Well, frick. I goofed this. Pick up. I done goofed this. And I have come to the realization of that. I need to move this structure over by 1 block. Because I want 3 blocks of path. But then I want 1 block on each edge before hitting the cobblestone. And I did not do that. Also, I technically dug 1 block extra there. Because that block didn't need to be dug up. And how big is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Ugh. Seven. Five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It lights up most of it. Okay. So then we can put the residence back down. It shouldn't be too difficult. I just have to line it up with, you know, what's already down and all. But I guess I got to make sure that it's the right way around. There we go. Bing. And then 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So then I want the tavern to start where that block that I put down is. Where it will line up beyond that, I don't know. Okay, that's actually perfectly in line there. Got to bring the whole structure down by 1 block. Okay, that's where we want it. That's the exact location of where we want it. Then I'm going to dig around the tavern so I can mark it with the cobblestone. And I'll figure out how I want to do that part later. You know, the fact that it like sticks out on this side. I'll figure that out at another point in time. Right now, all I care about doing is laying down the actual outline. Hey, 4 cobblestone left. Then what I'll probably have to do is extend the ground here just a little bit in each area, you know, just out a little bit so that it's not like this. So, but that shouldn't be difficult. But yeah, you can see this does go underground a little bit. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. Now, if I was doing Mage Light, these would give off a light of 50. Because I'm doing torches, they only give off a light of 14. So, that's unfortunate. But it's fine. So we're going to want 123 framed birch plank, a birch trap door, 4 birch pressure plates, 75 birch slabs, 33 birch plank, 1 clean stone, 37 birch fences, 114 birch stair. I don't think I'm going to need to provide the dirt because he's got to dig this area out. Laying barrel 4 birch wood, 18 coarse dirt, 1 stripped birch log, 3 birch signs, 1 regular barrel, 7 torches, 142 birch logs, 11 standing barrels, and a single piece of andesite. Those are the resources he needs. Oh boy. One thing I am gonna want to consider is a storage system. Um, 142 birch log. How much birch log is that? 5 by 64. That is 2 and some odd stacks. Okay. So then we need, was it like this for a trapdoor? Yes. And then pressure plates, which are like this. I love that you get one pressure plate for 2 freaking blocks of wood. 60, 66, 62. Okay. $33 birch planks. One clean stone. I know I did make some birch fences as well as birch frame. So let's grab those. I need 37. I think it was 145 birch there. I apparently wrote 1,145. I don't think that's right. But 145 is also going to be over 2 stacks. So that's always fun. Pieces, logs, planks. Okay. Says he only needs 114 birch stairs. Oh, I see. I think I know what happened. Yeah, I typed 114, but then I think I hit numpad 5 on accident. Because I realized I was typing with the numpad. And, you know, every time I hit numpad 5, it resets my avatar. And so I hit 5 to reset. And then switch back to and then I switched over to using the number keys. And I probably hit that while I was doing the 114, basically. Okay, so let's throw this stuff in here. And so I've delivered the planks. I can now just make planks without issue. I do wish that there was a sawmill mod in this, but there is not. Oh, 114 is less than 2 stacks. So, oops. So I've got more than enough of the stairs. We need some birch doors. I believe I have an extra door somewhere. But maybe not. I do not. Okay. That's unfortunate. I need a laying barrel and a standing barrel. Right? I need 11 standing barrels. Supposedly. So I need more sticks. And I need a regular barrel. I should have in here somewhere. Yes. Let me double check what I actually still need. Also, I'm a little concerned about giving him too many resources, because his inventory will get fricked, because he's only level 1. Like, look at how much more stuff I need to give him. So I need the framed birch. I need the andesite. I need the birch signs, the birch wood, the coarse dirt, the stripped birch log, and the white beds. Okay. If I don't make it all at once, I get confused on where I'm at. So, that's all right. We're you know, we're handling it. You do be doing the building, which is good. There's a zombie over here? Is it underground? It must be, because I don't see it. Or is it above me? Or I think it's underground. Yeah, it's because there's a cave here. So it's fine. Not worried about it then. So I guess I'll let him work on that. And he's probably going to need the framed birch pretty quickly. So I think I will get my hands on that. Now the question becomes, do I have andesite? I have diorite. One andesite. I don't know what he needs one andesite for, but sure. I also need some birch wood. Then we need some more coarse dirt. And it's like I have 7, so I'll need to make some more. I think I'll just use up all of the gravel here. Just make as many as I can. Just to have some extra. Need a strip birch log. And then the big thing that I'm going to need is the white beds. And that is actually going to require an entire extra step. So let's hope that I haven't cluttered his inventory too much with the resources. I definitely have. So he's definitely going to complain about that if I put anything else in here. Because he doesn't have an extra, like, storage rack or anything. Usually I will upgrade these guys to level 2 before I do anything. Specifically for that reason. I just didn't think about it. So, whoop, there's a hole right there. So what I'll do is I will take this chest. I will run it over here. I'll plop it down there and say, here's all the rest of the resources. He won't be able to use it. He won't be aware that that is his purpose. But
Hi.
it's fine.
It's a fine day.
What is
I
it?
don't know how hungry any of
It's a
these people
fine
are.
morning. You're so wise.
Not too bad. But I figured, you know, give them some food is better than not, so. So here's what I'm going to do next. I am going to get us some fences. I don't know if 30 is enough, but we'll figure it out. Okay, it was. So now I have a nice little 5x5 fence area. It's a little, small, but it'll work for what I need. Because what I need is sheeple. This cow is going to come over as well. Well, I do need cow as well. So maybe I just build a second pen for the sheep. Two, three, four, five, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, I do need both. So it doesn't hurt, to set up a pen for both. I just need more fences for that. That may not be enough. Definitely not. It's fine. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. I literally need 3. I literally need 3 fence. There. And now we have a spot for sheep. And a spot for cow. So now we shall start by gathering the sheep. And then now we just need to find another sheep. One more sheep and one more cow. There are your vines just floating over there. Okie dokie. There's a random honey block up in that tree. There is some weird world generation in this mod pack. I'm just gonna say it. And 13 chops on this tree. I'm knocking these down purely because they're in the way. Part of me really hopes that these like weird trees won't like spawn from the saplings. But I suspect that I will find that that is exactly the case. That the weird trees will spawn from the saplings. But I haven't needed to place any saplings down yet. Because there's been 1,000,001 trees. So at the moment, you know, I'm not too worried about it. Whoops. I forgot that if you hold shift, it just breaks the block. Somehow this one block is still connected though. I like chop from up here. No, okay. No, it doesn't register that that I've done any of the chops down here. If I go from a higher spot. Like, it probably will if I go after this block. And then, like, once this block is done, yeah, see now how see how that blocks that way? So now if I hit that block, it'll probably continue to register. "21, 22, 23, 24, and boom. Pop goes the tree. Cool. Lots of acacia wood out of that. Eventually, I will wrap the sugarcane around the island like I usually do. But what the frick? Like, it went freaking flying off. Okay. You can't plant the sugar cane on the mud bricks or the packed mud or whatever the frick it is. It's like you can't do gravel. So, I have to replace the gravel and the mud with dirt. I have no problems replacing the freaking... What the... Minecraft physics, everybody. Minecraft is a perfect game with absolutely no bugs in it. Whoop! I didn't realize that I had that much more sugarcane. Good lord. Alright, well, I'll just plant it where I can for now. In that case. Because I mean, I have dirt back at the base, but I'd have to go back to the base to pick up the dirt. Right now, I just want to get the sugarcane planted. You know? Everybody always talks about how hard sugarcane is to grow and to like get large amounts of, and I just laugh because I'm like, it's really not. Like, you just gotta plant enough of it. And let me tell you, like, you can plant a lot. Like, I think most people, I think, just aren't planting enough. But yeah, as per usual, I'll have sugarcane that wraps all the way around the island here. Now the big thing is I still need to get over there to that builder's hut. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do that. And yes, that's how you make the mud bricks. Okay. And what we're gonna do is collect ourselves a little extra oak wood for now. And I'm going to make a temp bridge that will serve the purpose of just reaching the other side. Yes, I'm building another crafting table so that I don't have to walk all the way back. Probably don't need that many slabs, but it's fine. Boy, I would love to have freaking Pork's bridging. Ah! You think. Serene, you say that a lot. What the heck is a fink? I have no idea. It's something I randomly started saying as a kid. And I have never, like, I've just rather not never, but like I just have always thought it was funny, and so I continued to say it without, you know. That is technically going to take me out of the colony first. So let's do this. And I'm hoping that the colonists will be smart enough to use the bridge instead of crossing the water. What I could have also done was built a, like, diagonal bridge. But I didn't realize that I needed to curve, like, away from where I was building. Otherwise, I probably would have done it that way. Now, I do have a slight concern, which is that the bridge does go over water. And if vanilla Minecraft has taught me anything, it's that drowned are the literal worst. And I'm going to go ahead and simply assume that they can spawn in this river area, because of course they would be able to. Why wouldn't they? I've never known them to not spawn in water. Okay. So now I need to see. I was gonna say, do I have any cobblestone? And I do not. I did build this. I hate to say it, but I've already forgotten. Like, I'm hoping I built this with the idea that, like, this is the ground level. Because I seem to recall saying that. But I don't remember for sure. But I do believe that that was the case. So I'm going to go ahead and dig around as if that is the case. And I will hopefully be right. Because again, while it is true that she can dig all this out herself, it will be slow as frick. And so me going about it ahead of time should make the whole process a little bit faster. Especially since she is out here, you know, across the way. And so it is a little, you know, dangerous out here, considering that the rest of the colony is all the way over freaking yonder, across the river and all that. Now, my goal will be to build a guard tower out here. Like, almost right away. But to do that, I need her to build out here. You know? Like, she's got to build her hut first. Before I can assign a guard out here. Okay. Before I do too much more, See, I built these with the bottom slab so that nothing can spawn on them. But that doesn't prevent mobs from spawning under them. So that could very well become an issue. Also, we've been going for almost 3.5 hours. And with my attempts to try and get some of these pre-records to only be a couple of hours long, we are quite far into this pre-record. So I will finish up all of this and get the builder's hut building. And then we will probably end off at that point. And I'll probably just have to kind of keep, you know, an eye. You know, keep an eye out over here. Either in between episodes so that she can get it done, or, you know, maybe, you know, I'll just leave it for when we come back in another episode or something. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. I need to go get some cobblestone, I just remembered, so that I can mark out the structure. Because I don't want to lose track of where it's at. Kitty cat. Just my cat wanting some food, you know. It's almost as if she's a living creature that requires sustenance. I think one of my favorite scenes in Endwalker is in the post Endwalker patches when you're teaching Zero how to eat again, because, you know, she's been a void sent for centuries, and so, like, she didn't know how to eat food, and it was just a funny scene. Cool. I think that repaired that area. So I think all of the sugarcane is now connected again. I think that was the... Nope. I was going to say, I think that was the only spot where there was no sugarcane, but was not the case. You know what? That's fine. I don't care. So that we can take these two and just put them over there. Cool. That is so much sugarcane already. And yet, you know that it's going to go around the entire island when I'm done with it. Like, I have barely even begun to grow sugarcane. Oh yeah, I should get her some tools while I'm at it. Since I am... you know, coming over here to grab that cobblestone. Should take this opportunity to expand or to give her more to make tools for her. Good Lord. Axe. Pickaxe. Hoe. And shovel. Let me take just a little bit more cobblestone just to be sure. And again, hopefully she will be smart enough to take the bridge. And so now we can tell her, build structure. We'll hand her her tools. And then we just go all the way around the structure like this, where the construction tape is. I started work on Builder's Hut. Ah! That was not cobblestone. And I am out of torch. That is also not cobblestone. But I am out of torches. Cool. So let's see. What does she need again? Well, first let me clear everything but the 4 white beds for the tavern. She needs a birch door, birch fences, birch logs. I hit 5 on the numpad. Birch planks, birch slab, birch stair, forced dirt, cobble slab, cobble stair.
Dum, da, dum, da, dum,
Hey,
dum.
crafting table. And frame birch and torch. So I can just grab that crafting table that I made over here. And I've done so much work here that I completely forgot about the whole needing the beds thing for the tavern. So I will need to correct that at some point. I don't like it when it's when just one block sticks out like that. Birch door. I don't think I have any birch fences left. I do not. Whoops. I need to make some planks first. Then we can make some fences. Okay. I need 50 birch log. Well, I have some of that. I need 24 birch planks. I need some slabs. I need way more stairs than I can currently make. Wait, hang on. How many am I at? 76. Okay. So I have enough. Da 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 da. Then I need cobble slabs. Cobble stairs. Crafting table, torches. Okay. Birch logs. torches. I think I just need the coarse dirt now. Cool. Let's see if I have everything for her then. If I do, then awesome. If I don't, then still fine. I'll just have to get whatever else I need. Oh, the frame birch. Whoops. I forgot to grab that. And those are the things I didn't need, so. Coolies. Alright, well, that should supply her everything she needs. And so hopefully when we next return, I'll either have let her finish building or you know, maybe she'll just be done. My brain had no words there. So, but yeah, I think this is a good spot to stop at. You know, we can, you know, she can finish that up. And the other guy can work on finishing up the tavern. And hopefully we'll get these colonists into a good place, you know? So there is a cave down there, and I might head down there between episodes to find resources. I'll have to think about it. Because I'm still a little worried about, you know, the protection of these people. I don't know if I have lit things up well enough that they are not going to have mob spawning, you know, or if when night comes there will still be a bunch of mobs that I have to worry about. So, in either case, though, I do hope you've all enjoyed. If you have, feel free to subscribe. There is a playlist that you can check to see more of the episodes. Normally I stream all this stuff over at twitch.tv/SereneInc. But we've been moving, so been instead doing these pre-recorded videos. But hopefully, we will be back. I will be back soon. You know, back to regular streaming soon, you know? So yeah, feel free to come on out, you know, leave a follow so that you can be notified when I finally go live. And then, you know, hang out with us, chat, etc. And with that, I'll see you all next time, hopefully. See you later. Going well, you know, getting the building up. That's going well. That bridge is definitely going to need to be moved.